Welcome, this is Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schwartz, and joining me today is Maté Nudge.
Wait, what was the name of the podcast again?
It's The Assist.
The Assist,
Yes.
not Assassin.
Yeah, you walk around and say The Assassin.
Because I think it's Assassin.
And you don't listen to it. You should start your own podcast called
I
The
should start
Assassin.
my own podcast.
That'd be kind of interesting.
Yep, it would be.
What would you talk about?
Assassins? That would be the name of it.
What's your favorite assassin?
I don't have one yet.
John Wick?
Is he an assassin?
I think he is. I haven't seen those movies yet. I want to.
Me neither. Assassin's Creed.
Good game. You ever play it?
Yep. I watched the movie too. Great movie. Anyways, let's get started with this podcast. We are at 1,000 downloads in 6 months. That's pretty impressive for Zach, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So thank you guys.
There's some podcasts that have that in an hour, but anyways.
I mean, you're right. It's a family-run organization.
Family run by your family?
Just by me.
Oh, family run is like you do it and your parents listen to it 1,000 times? Is that what you mean?
I think so. I don't think my mom listens to this. My dad sometimes does, I think. Anyway, Andrew Luck retired yesterday. Out of nowhere.
Insane. Middle of the UF Miami game. The whole game stopped for a second. They all checked Twitter and Instagram to make sure that it actually happened. Everyone got frustrated by their fantasy teams who drafted him. I didn't.
Yeah, we didn't have our draft yet. We have it tonight.
I had one and I went with Carson Wentz, obviously.
Of course, you gotta represent. What's your team name this year?
Pennsylvania.
That's good. I like that.
Thank you. I didn't need your approval, but appreciate it.
So yeah, Andrew Luck retired. I don't think we've ever really seen something like this. You know, like a 30-year-old quarterback, 29-year-old quarterback, whatever his age is, just doesn't retire. You know.
I mean, did he have his press conference yet? I think it was like
there was one yesterday.
There was supposed to be one today, like addressing like the situation, but they said it's like he's mentally worn down, which I kind of get and understand. Like it's a hard thing to do, especially as a quarterback and. Going through all that, I mean, but it came out of the blue. Like, it's not like he was, like, preparing to, like, I might retire in the next couple, like, seasons. It's just, like...
Yeah.
It's insane.
I wonder if, like, the mentally worn down part of it is, like, he's been injured a lot.
And it's the beginning of the season, too. Like, if it was, like, the end of last season, like what made him think or just act like that? Like, during a preseason game, like... I don't think he told anyone like before. Like
no, it was truly out of nowhere.
It's insane to me.
You know, like I mean, because there were rumors, you know, how he was injured, you know, and he was taking a couple games off, and all of a sudden the injury might have been worse than previously thought. All this stuff like that story happened because remember.
Yeah, but injuries are different. Like like last year he was the comeback player of the year, so like you wouldn't not expect.
He's a top 5 quarterback when healthy.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy. Do you think the mentally being worn down is a code for CTE?
I don't know. I mean, if you have CTE at that point, it's just like I don't think it's reversible.
No, I don't think so either.
And I don't think he has CTE. It's just
no,
like
he definitely doesn't.
He might. I don't know. He might be having trouble with some mental illness that he doesn't want to talk about yet. Or
could be.
Kevin Love was having depression, so
yeah, him and DeMar DeRozan talked about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year,
it could be something like that. And it's a lot of pressure that's put on them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he got booed, like, yesterday. That's just disrespectful.
Yeah, I think that's wrong.
Yeah,
I think that's not
Come on, Indiana. You can do better than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, I understand, you know.
I mean, they probably didn't know what was going on and why he did that, but...
Right.
You can't just, like, boo someone who did all that for your franchise.
It is tough for the team because they were looked at as division favorites this year. Now
yeah, they dropped from 15-1 to 30-1 to win the title.
They're still 30-1. That seems pretty high.
Well,
I mean, I know they have a good team, but like that still seems. Do you think Jacoby Brissett's gonna?
Yeah, he's great.
So that the biggest
Belichick's finest.
The biggest benefit is definitely Houston, right? The Texans.
And Jacksonville too.
Yeah,
I mean, but now the division is open.
Wide open. Tennessee.
Well, not wide open, but
I think Houston's probably the favorite.
It's gonna be Houston, and Jacksonville depends on how they do.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson, big year.
Yeah, I think so.
What do you expect from your Eagles?
My Eagles, anything less from a Super Bowl run is just a disappointment.
To win the Super Bowl, or just to get to there.
Honestly, like last season, I was fine with getting into the playoffs, knocking out the Bears. Like that was like, if we make another like deep run, like I'm fine with that. Like we just won the Super Bowl. Like if we win it again, obviously, like I won that. But as long as we make the playoffs and we have like a really good last season was horrible. Like I didn't like the season. It was really up and down. We were like 9-7. So
you were stressed out.
It was really frustrating. We barely got in the playoffs. We only got in the playoffs because the Bears are idiots and just didn't want to play the Vikings twice. So
and then the double doink.
Yep, and I just don't want, as long as Carson Wentz stays healthy and has a really good year and everyone has a good year and we figure stuff out on offense and defense doesn't have that many injuries we had last year, then we should be fine.
Yeah, you definitely still are one of the top contenders.
I think we are like top in the top 10. Like I don't want to say anything.
Easily. Top 5.
Well, I think we are 5th in the top 5.
Chiefs, Patriots, Saints,
Rams.
Yeah, and you guys are probably right there with the Chargers, I'd say. You guys are better than the Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers are like, they're up and down. Like they also don't have, what's his name? That safety, he's out for a couple of weeks.
Oh, Derwin James.
Yeah, Derwin James is out, and is it Keenan Allen who got hurt?
Keenan Allen.
No, Keenan Allen is, but he's fine now. It's Melvin Gordon who's holding out.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon's having an issue.
And that doesn't seem to be getting solved anytime soon.
Him and Zeke, right? Is Zeke still holding out?
Zeke is holding out because Jerry Jones is an idiot. And he'd rather pay, what's his name?
Dak?
No, the linebacker.
Oh,
I mean, he's a decent linebacker.
Van Der Esch?
No, Van Der Esch he was the rookie last year. He doesn't need to be paid.
Well, Sean Lee?
Jalen Smith.
Oh, Jalen Smith, okay.
He got paid 50. He's like one of the highest paid safeties now.
They're a second-round pick from a couple years ago, if I remember.
Yeah. I mean, he is good, but like I don't think he's priority when you have an idiotic quarterback wanting $40 million and a really good running back wanting a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have him pay Dak than Ezekiel Elliott because I just hate the Cowboys and I hope they suck.
I feel like the Dak situation's kind of like what happened with... You get these quarterbacks who are not the top of the game, but they're pretty good. Like, obviously, you want them to still start. But then you end up signing them to these massive contract extensions. Like, there are some quarterbacks that deserve every dollar they make. But there are some quarterbacks like Matt Stafford that get paid $30 million a year, and then they can't even guarantee you a playoff spot. And I think Dak's like that.
Exactly, Dak is exactly like that. And what these, I wouldn't call them franchise quarterbacks because
they're like tier 2 quarterbacks.
Exactly. So they're gonna keep you afloat. They're gonna have some good seasons, some decent seasons, but they're not gonna get you to the playoffs every year. They're not gonna be elite. They might have a Super Bowl run like Joe Flacco did and win you a Super Bowl.
That's the comparison right there. It's Joe Flacco.
But other than that, if you don't get rid of him and find someone and the thing is like you can't even find a good quarterback because they're gonna keep you like in the middle of the pack. So you'll have like middle draft picks. So you can't pick a good quarterback unless you like give up some players and move up. But because they are gonna have you in that middle 10 to 15 range in picking, so
it's like you could win a playoff game with them if you build the right team around them. But I mean, it's not like you got Tom Brady back there or Drew Brees. It's not.
But do you really want to build around Dak Prescott?
No, I mean,
how do you even build around him?
I don't know. I haven't studied the Cowboys to build with that. I know what the one team that hasn't done that is like Matt Stafford, the Lions, or another example of a team that's actually doing it pretty well and will probably make the playoffs this year is the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins is another quarterback I think like that who, if you ask, the common fan, should they be a starter for a team? The answer is yes, but then it's like he's getting $29 million guaranteed, and you're like, wait a minute.
He's kind of like a panic button. Like you just. Because you're like, oh, he's a good quarterback. We could sign him. We don't really have an idea of like who we should draft or anyone right now. So we'll just go with the panic button and just see where Kirk Cousins takes us. Yeah,
I'd say like Wentz is a really under 25 or he might be 25. He's
25 now, but I feel like he is. I honestly, I'm biased, but I feel like they say that he's gonna have.
No, he's a franchise.
He's gonna have another 2007 season when he was. If he didn't tear his ACL, he would have easily won the MVP.
Yeah, I'd say Wentz, like, obviously Brady, Roethlisberger, Breeze, these kind of guys are getting up there. They're still producing at
I would even put Phillip Rivers up there because he's always been decent. It's just like the team around him hasn't been good, and the coaching around him
and the kicking,
the kicking killed them.
I really like Phillip Rivers. I think that's a good inclusion. Eli Manning dropped off 2 years ago, but he's still playing for the Cowboys. The Giants. Yikes, my bad. He might be throwing passes to Cowboy defenders more often.
All the time.
All the time. But in terms of
colorblind.
In terms of the next generation, I think you've got Carson Wentz. I think you have Deshaun Watson in there. I certainly think you have, this rookie crop. I'm not too sure on. Like Kyler Murray, obviously you don't know yet. It's too early to tell. I'd say Baker Mayfield certainly is possible. I want to see more. If he produces how he did last year.
Baker Mayfield is kind of like Johnny Manziel, but like
good.
In a sense, yeah, good. He actually knows what he's doing. Yeah. He's not like he's an idiot, but he's a fun idiot that people actually like. Like I actually like the Browns now.
As a Cleveland resident, most of the year or some portions of the year, the Cleveland people absolutely love him. It's
not just I like him too. He's a really likable guy, and he's like that he's a competitor based on like his actions and everything he does. So like as long as he doesn't do anything off the field that is illegal and he's gonna ruin his career like Johnny Manziel did, then I feel like he's gonna be good. Patrick Mahomes is also up there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mahomes. I was thinking there was one guy that was a phenom last year that my mind's slipping. Mahomes. Yeah.
Yep. These are just, I don't know. But you can't really tell with Patrick Mahomes. He only had one really good season. But
right. And someone's going to take him in like the first round of our fantasy draft later tonight. They'll be like, I want the best quarterback. And it's like, that's literally the dumbest thing you can do in a fantasy football draft.
You never know.
It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, yeah, you don't take a quarterback.
Because so many quarterbacks are decent enough in fantasy. I won the league last year with Lamar Jackson, who's not a.
What? But you didn't pick Lamar Jackson
I picked him up.
as your first. Exactly. So who was your first quarterback?
Matthew Stafford, and I won the championship.
Yeah, because you had really good receivers and
Saquon
Barkley,
a monster year. So I mean that's just my opinion.
But having a balanced team also matters. If you have like a decent, I don't know. I had Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan kept giving me between 10 and 20 points.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's just like value and all this.
Exactly.
Shit.
So,
I look into this stuff.
But if you end up with Eli Manning or
not Eli Manning.
Who else is there? Like
Ben Roethlisberger, maybe.
Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think Ben. There was one game he threw like 4 picks. Wasn't it last year?
I think so. Well, he does that from time to time.
Yeah, he's just like fuck this.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers
is still pretty good.
He's good, but like the team around him is not. I don't know. Tom Brady's always a safe pick.
We'll wrap this up. Super Bowl prediction. Just the NFL part of the show.
That is really, really, really.
I know. I don't even have one.
I can't tell you that. I need to like.
Yeah.
Have a little bit like week 2, week 4.
Yeah, I said the Saints. We'll go with the Saints right now. For me,
Saints. No, they're just gonna get a shitty call again.
No, they're gonna win. The whole year's gonna be making. The Saints are gonna go 20-0.
They're gonna go 16-0. Yeah. And in the first playoff game, they're gonna get a shitty penalty call against them, so they lose the game, and the Eagles are gonna play the Chiefs.
I like that. That'd be a good game. No, so okay, that was a good little NFL preview. You were raised in Hungary for the majority of your life. Until
I grew up in Hungary.
High school age, right?
Exactly. I started high school in the United of the States.
What is your least favorite thing about Americans?
The confidence and cockiness. I'm sorry, guys. You're just way too confident, way too cocky, and you just try to you think that you can solve everything, but you really can't. But you show that you can. And once it gets to it, then you just fail. Which is actually, it's a good mentality to go into it, but you kind of have to understand that at certain times you have to know what your limits are.
Yeah.
And not most, but some Americans don't know that. And what they show is like they can literally sell. Americans are really good salespeople. Mm-hmm. They can sell you whatever they want. If you want them to believe that they are neurosurgeon, that then they will do that to you, and then you'll probably die on the operating table because they have no idea what the fuck they are doing.
Yep.
Can I say that?
I mean, why can't
Curse.
you say that?
Curse.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, perfect.
You're fine.
I don't want to get you off. What is it? What do you use?
iTunes, Spotify. No,
iTunes.
you just throw up the explicit.
Do they have
tag.
sponsors yet?
No.
I was Zach wanted to pay me to on this podcast, but I said
that's not.
I
true.
said, Zach, it's okay. I can't. I'm your friend. You don't have to pay me.
Why are you?
Why
are you slandering me right now? That's not true.
Because I know I'm gonna get you views. I'm gonna get you 1,000 views.
You're gonna get you views.
Yeah.
Me views.
Yeah. Exactly. People are gonna go on Apple Podcast. They're gonna view your podcast, and they're gonna.
There you go.
They're gonna click on another one instead
correction.
of the assassin.
Good correction. Okay. Anyway, so back to the American thing. Do you think you're an international traveler, many different places? Do you think this is the greatest country in the world?
Yes, I actually do.
Okay, so we're just too cocky about it. We're just too arrogant.
No, I mean, I love the country, and I would never want to move anywhere else. I love this country, and I really think it's a great country. Even because it's how it's set up. It's almost impossible for it to fail. I mean, it can definitely fail, but it can take a lot more hits than other countries. Yeah, which is shown now, and in general, it's just founding fathers really. The fact that they had to separate from England, they kind of made a little cushion of how things should be run. And I feel like it gave it a really good basis. And a lot of European governments, they were founded a really long time ago, and it just kept changing and changing. There's no really foundation. They never really had to revolve against.
Like France is the model for that, is because how many revolutions have they had? It's been insane.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's interesting that you bring that up, because really when this country was founded, broke apart in 1776, the Constitution, 1780s, it's kind of like a new thing, because a lot of countries were ran by kings and queens, and a lot of...
And these were already smart people these were English and French and Spanish educated people. They weren't just a bunch of nomadic tribes that gathered around and just started building at first little tents and then villages, and then they kind of just became a government. These were societies, and kind of it was just an extension of England in a sense, but England just couldn't really hold on to them. I honestly don't think they didn't wanna separate from England. They believed that they were part of England. But it was it the Boston Tea Party was the not being taxed and not being represented. I think that was
that was a big thing for sure. Yeah. There's a lot of
So England kind of treated the U.S. as a colony instead of actually being part of England.
Yeah.
But Americans now, but the English people living here really believed that they were part of England. England just didn't really want that. So I feel like if that would have been solved, then the revolution never would have happened.
I think
that's just me. I'm not a historian.
I think part of it too, if you think about it, is the first generation gets over there. The people that move over there at first, and they do feel part of England. There's no issues there. But the people that were born in the colonies, like Ben Franklin, I believe, I read a biography on him. I believe he was born in the colonies. So those kind of people, that's when it started to shift, because they didn't don't necessarily really have a tie.
Yeah, they don't have a tie to that country anymore, and it's just gonna happen. It's natural. You don't have a tie to that country. You kind of live here, and then you're just wait, why are we still involved with them? And the people that moved here, they don't realize that, because they moved from that country to this. But people who grew up here, they're hold on, we are doing our own thing. This is not right. Right.
So, do you think our political system has issues with it?
Issues with?
I think in general, I think a lot of the things they set up in the Constitution, stuff like that, were really good. And obviously, we have a process for amendments that come through, and have obviously done a lot of great things, given expanded the right to vote and stuff like that. And But I feel like there's a kind of general sense around the country that there's a lot of issues with, it sounds great because representative democracy. It sounds great when you say it. It's like, okay, we have so many people, you can't just all vote for every issue, 300 million people. But you can elect a representative to do that. But then the way it's kind of set up now is that if it's a 51% versus 49% for the representative, the other half has to deal with having a guy that they don't agree with.
And that's actually a really big percentage. 49% of the people don't want what is going to happen.
Correct.
Which is, I don't think that's fair. And if it was like something like a lopsided, like 70-30, that's different. But minority is always gonna be. But if it's that close, that really you can't really call that a minority.
Yeah. So I don't know how you fix that though. I think the easier issue to fix would be the fact that people complain that representatives, once they elect them, they don't follow anything they've stood for, or they just do whatever they want.
Yeah,
which is just human,
or just having like a based on percentage. That's how many people get in. Like not necessarily one representative, but so if you have 51, because that's how Hungarian government is not good at all, but that's how it is. It's based on percentages, how many people you get in. So if you get 2/3, then you get the most. But then every other, as long as you get more than 10%, you get like 1 or 2. Like 10% is 1, and then like 20 is like it's not 1, but like 20 is 2, and then so it's based on the percentages.
Interesting.
So it would be split up. So it wouldn't be just one person. It would be more for the 51 than for 49.
Obviously, but still, it's more proportional.
But you would still have someone representing you instead of not having anyone representing you.
Yeah, rather than just the 1 to 0 binary choice there.
Yes.
Interesting. There you go.
But I don't think there is a good government system. There is not gonna be one.
No, there will never be a perfect system.
No, because people are always gonna, they're not gonna agree with everyone, and we shouldn't. We all have different views, so.
Yeah, and I think one key thing about this country that I absolutely love is that, in a lot of places you can't even have the conversation we just had about their government. You can't.
Yeah, not a lot of that. That's just not a lot of countries.
There's some places.
Oh, there's China and North Korea. That's it. Maybe Russia. That's it.
Possibly.
But even in Russia, you're just gonna sent to Siberia for.
Yeah, and you'll never come back.
Well, it just depends on how tough you are.
Depends how close you are with Putin.
And one day send you to Siberia.
Yeah, that's a good point. Winters are tough.
Ask Napoleon or Hitler.
Yeah, both of them. I love that in history. I think we talked about it like last week when I first came back down. It's just like when history just repeats itself.
Yep. People don't learn from other people's mistakes, I guess.
Don't invade Russia. And if it's anywhere close to winter, you gotta invade in like April.
Or just don't invade them at all.
That's true.
Just take Moscow and you're fine.
Right. If we had another war, we wouldn't even have to invade people. Just all these drones.
Yeah, you could just be sitting at home in a couch and you're just like, oh, there's a missile going. But I feel like a war, like if we actually had a world war, that would last like 2 days.
Yeah, because eventually the nukes would be used.
And then everyone would just die.
Yeah.
That would be, I don't think anyone would survive.
I think that's why we haven't had, obviously the Afghanistan conflict and Iraq, and still stuff going on now over there in the Middle East. But other than that, like we have all this. There's a lot of tension in the world right now, between the U.S. and China, North Korea, obviously, and then there's
but these are all resolvable problems.
They are, and I think that's what everyone's biggest fear is. Doing this, just taking out the nukes. So it's like you could literally wipe a country off the map right now with what we have.
And that's insane. I don't think a lot of people realize that, and I don't think.
This map back here, I have this big old colored map. Like North Korea would just be gone.
I just want
There'd just be nothing there.
All the listeners to see that too.
Yeah, see them. I have a big, nice colored map. There just be. I don't even know what you put there. It's not ocean. You just put like something like green, like wasteland. Can't go back.
It's like Chernobyl.
Basically. Did you see the Chernobyl show?
I did not.
I did not either.
I heard it's really good though.
I heard it was very real and gritty.
I also heard that Russia is trying to remake it because blaming America or something. I don't know if that's true. I just heard that.
It was in the Ukraine, correct?
Yeah.
Isn't that where, but that was a Russian Soviet Union property at the time,
yeah.
correct? So that's why. Okay.
I feel like it still kind of is.
That's weird.
It's insane. Like I've like since I lived in that area, like my parents kind of like I know that they told me that they were in university at that time and they were told not to because the whole cloud was over Hungary as well, and they were told not to eat like lettuce or any vegetables for like I don't know how long.
Otherwise, you could have had like a defect.
I think it's just precaution. There's nothing really happened in Hungary, but they still like had to be careful of what they were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So it wasn't like no one. I don't really know if anyone got sick or anything in Hungary. But like Hungary is decently close. It's not close, but
yeah, it's still Eastern
I
Europe.
guess it's there somewhere. Yeah.
Is there? I mean, you kind of mentioned that the government in Hungary wasn't that great. Is there anything that like when you were over there you were taught in school or something like that? Because I've always wondered this before. If like because obviously our version, everyone's version of history is different based on who is there and obviously what kind of twists they put in there.
But you can't really alter history. I mean, you can kind of like take parts out of it, but
perspective. Like I always think about how is German history taught? Because
like it is like we like Hitler and everything like the wrongs that he did. So there's no hiding behind in the communist era. Like I'm pretty sure that they were trying to like kind of boost up like communism and all that. But now that it's a democracy, so Hungary is not like everything is like clean and and because of the internet you can't even lie about this kind of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. That's where people like in North Korea who don't in China.
Well, yeah, because those people you can't kind of influence, but Hungary is not like that.
Yeah. I wonder also because I feel like, for instance, like the way Vietnam's taught here, I think it's either a lot of times you don't even get to it because it was in the 1970s and 60s, so it's pretty late on in terms of history class. But I feel like Vietnam is taught like undersold about how devastating it was.
Vietnam was a pointless war, wasn't it? There was like no.
It was, yeah. I mean, because what happened was, it was the whole time. It was during the Cold War. It was part of the Cold War. Like, so the whole idea was, it was North Vietnam, South Vietnam, and North Vietnam was communist, and we were worried that South Vietnam was going to be taken over by North Vietnam and be communist. So it was that whole. There's this whole policy.
So America kind of came to the rescue.
Yeah, but we didn't.
But there was
As you notice, there's not a North and South Vietnam. So it's like, but that was kind of like, we just pulled out, we stopped. But it's like, really, I mean, it was.
They pulled out because they didn't like they were gonna lose anyway.
It was a complete failure.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just a waste of energy and a waste of a lot of.
I think people thought.
A lot of people died for no reason.
I think the worst fear was that Vietnam would fall. Then, like, I think the neighboring country is Laos, and then Cambodia. So, like, all of Southeast Asia underneath China, there would have been communist, and obviously that hasn't really happened. So it's like, I just think war is tough. Whenever you just try to justify a war, like it's like
you really can't, because then
like
there's always two sides to it. One side.
Yeah, for every time there's a Hitler, obviously, which is a very justified war, there are others that are not.
That is but...
That's what I'm saying. Like, not everything is just like, whatever. I mean, I think, like, obviously we weren't alive. Well, we were alive, but we weren't, in there for the Iraq stuff. And, like, there's still, to this day, there's a lot of mixed things that I hear now that I don't even know how to feel.
It just depends on the side that you are on and the side that you take on it.
Yeah.
So it's there's no right or wrong. I guess. I mean, in my opinion, it was a pointless war as well. But some people are gonna say that it was needed. It wasn't needed, but I don't really know.
I think the mistake was that
war in general is just not. I mean, war is not gonna solve anything.
Yeah.
Like you said, like the reason we have all these conflicts in the Middle East is because of World War II, and after World War II, all these European nations just sat down and took a ruler and just divided all those countries up, and you can't do that.
Created Israel.
Exactly, but you can't do that because of all the religious stuff and everything, and that's what's causing the Middle East, and that's why the Middle East is how it is right now, because a bunch of Europeans just decided to take a ruler and a pencil and then just divide it up.
It's kind of what they did with Africa 100 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know how long from Israel's inception by the UN How long it took for them to be invaded by some of the Muslim countries around them?
What do you mean? How long it took them to?
They were invaded shortly after Israel was created as a country. How long do you think it took?
I don't know.
12 hours.
12 hours.
12 hours.
It's just there's a lot of like religious, and you split up a lot of different religions and cities, and it's just you can't do that. Like
it's difficult. It's difficult, and to anyone, this is once again one of those things. To anyone that thinks it's just like support Israel, don't support Israel, whatever, give money, don't give money, whatever. It's so much more nuanced than that. I mean, we're talking about things that go back thousands and thousands of years. So like, this is one of my big issues with all political things. I think you and I don't want to hash out our conversation again, but for instance, for like gun reform.
oh, perfect.
No, we're not going to talk about it, but I'm just saying like we agree on 95% of it, and there's one thing that we argued about for a half hour about, and that's just like, you know what I mean?
With gun control?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be paranoid and have a gun.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, but you get what I mean? Like, there's one thing.
No, I don't get what you mean, because that's exactly why we don't agree on this.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that you understand how I'm saying that a lot of people sometimes are like for guns, against guns, but really there's this. It's much more nuanced because they're very specific things.
Religion and politics. You can't
don't discuss at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, not just Thanksgiving, with your friends, because if you like, you're not gonna be able to change someone else's mind. It's their mind is set. They have their side.
Yeah, generally.
Obviously, if it's I'm talking about like a well-educated, like if two people have reasons to believe their sides, yeah, then you shouldn't change someone else's like opinion.
No, and I think a personal experience plays a lot into it, and that's sometimes hard for other people to kind of.
It does, but it's a big
part of it.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, let's run from this.
Exactly. Let's
run from this.
Let's not.
Let's run away from this. You watch a lot of comedy.
Huge comedy fan.
Who's your favorite comedian?
I don't really have a favorite comedian.
I didn't think you did.
I don't. It's just because everyone is so different. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I like Kevin Hart's comedy. Sometimes Kevin Hart's comedy annoys me.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but Chris Rock he's always funny.
Yeah, he's a really good one.
Dave Chappelle is always good. But there's some comedians that are they're just pure funny, and they really just make jokes about themselves. But there's also ones that go deep into some issues, and they make fun of it, but you can't. But it's not just like an everyday like, oh, I went to the supermarket, and then they make a joke about that. It's just like really big picture stuff and political stuff. And I really feel like this Trump presidency fueled a lot of this political comedy. And all that, which is for a comedian and from a comedic standpoint, it's great that you can make jokes about this kind of stuff. But I don't think this has really been a topic of interest in comedy before the Trump administration.
Yeah. So a couple things I want to say. One, Chappelle has a new special coming out tomorrow.
Yep.
We're recording this on Sunday. So the 25th. So that'll be out Monday the 26th. So it's already out if you're listening. That's generally how time works. The other thing I would say,
it's not going to be posted until next week because I'm not
Thursday.
I'm not priority apparently.
Well, I mean, it's just an order. I like to get these shows just done. So. Anyway, so look out for that. And then I think a couple other things you said. I definitely think that Trump was definitely a gold mine for that. And obviously we weren't alive, but I feel like there was a lot of comedy around Bush and the Iraq War. Obviously there's been specific instances of things that presidents have done with that. And I think Clinton, obviously, and Monica Lewinsky. But in terms of just like Trump. Yeah.
And the whole presidency itself, it's just like you're making jokes of like how the last comedian I listened to, there's this one joke that she was saying, I forgot, it was a he or she, that it's like, oh, in school they teach you a lot of things and that you can be anything, and it actually turned out to be right because Trump is president, so anyone can be president. So it's that kind of joke that like they kind of like, oh, you can be anything you want, not be in like when you are in kindergarten, and then they made a joke about like it's true. So he's just not presidential, but I don't. That might be some people listening from that, what, like 6 people that listen to it that like Trump.
I mean, the way he just tweets and stuff, that bothers me.
It's not presidential. Like,
Yeah,
he should be. He should, if I don't care if he's a Republican, but he should be focusing on political stuff and not minor stuff of how the U.S. women's soccer team doesn't want to go to the White House, or how A$AP Rocky is in a prison in Sweden. Like, this is not,
was weird.
This is not something that a president should prioritize.
Or buying Greenland.
Buying Greenland is just, they're not gonna sell you Greenland. Like,
so, going to your point about that war is just not generally good. I mean, what if we just start buying and selling territories like NBA trades?
That is also just, you can't, there's people living there. You can't just, you're literally buying people then.
Are there people living in Greenland?
Yes.
I thought Greenland was just an ice cap.
There is still like little populations in Greenland.
I'm gonna look up the population in Greenland.
Population of Greenland is probably like, it's really low, but there is people living in Greenland.
Did you see that he was going to trade Puerto Rico for Greenland? I mean, I love Puerto Rico, but
one of the assets of Puerto Rico.
I mean,
great vacation spot.
Trump's thinking like that's hurricanes are getting worse. We gotta offload this Caribbean property.
Wow, that is just so sad, and that is not right.
I mean, it's sad, but like it's also true. I mean, how many?
What do you mean? It's also like you can't just like say like, oh, Hawaii is like, we don't really want Hawaii. You can just get rid of it, or
no. I'm mimicking Trump. Obviously, I don't feel.
No, I get that, but you can't just like, oh, look at the map. It's like, oh, North Dakota, like. What is that? What is that for? Let's just erase that. Give it to Canada.
Maybe we're going for that. Maybe that's where we're going. We're going for a market economy with our land.
The whole country is gonna be like in the middle of the state, like Montana, or I mean, I actually like Montana. I don't like one of the Dakotas is gonna be like Canada, but then you go a little bit further and then it's still America, and then you go further south and it's France. It's just like
or like California. Like California, it's breaking off in 5 years. That's where it's the earthquake people, seismologists say, let's sell it to Japan.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I agree.
They're gonna become an island, and they're gonna be like, oh wow, we're not part of America anymore, so we can be our own. They kind of are. California
and Texas are both kind of like that.
They're big enough that they kind of like, oh, Trump? Who's Trump?
Yeah. Greenland has a population of 56,000 people, so you're right.
There's people living there.
There's people there.
There's a lot of, what do they call them? Those, not explorers, but like the...
Vikings?
Scientific, like little villages that they just set up, like the...
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what they're called.
The temporary, like, just
camps?
to, like, camps to, like, study different stuff. They have those...
It's not camps, but I don't know.
They basically are camps. It's just...
That's interesting. But I think about going back to history, like the only time I can think of someone buying and selling land is when Jefferson bought the Louisiana Purchase from Napoleon.
Yes.
Like any other time you think about it, like it's just like we're gonna take this land.
That was kind of like for France it didn't make sense to have like Louisiana. It was just such in an awkward position.
Well, it was a desperation move too because he needed money to fight the war.
Yeah, but if they had, what I'm saying is like geographically, like it was just wedged in the middle of like the U.S. Like that, even if he didn't buy it, it would have somehow became America because
for sure
everything around it was America.
It was our manifest destiny to go to the coasts.
So if we waited, we could have probably saved some more money.
And they were just giving it to us.
They would have it would just been like, well.
Oh, history taught us that was the history class taught me that was a steal. That was like
at that time like buying
$15 million.
Alaska was a steal.
That's right, Alaska too. That's good to call. We also bought Alaska.
That was a really good. Was it? It was. It
was from Russia.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Russia didn't know what they were doing. Idiots. Now they know what they're doing.
We bought it because of the oil, I believe. Is that what I recall?
But I don't think Russia knew how much oil there was.
I don't think they did
I think Russia thought that it was just a waste of land.
They're like, there's no vodka here. What are we going to do?
There's no vodka, there's polar bears. Like, we already have Siberia to send people to. Like, what are we going to do? Like,
the land bridge is gone.
Exactly.
The land bridge is not coming back.
Like, this is just another Siberia. We don't need this.
I heard Alaska's amazing, though.
It is, yeah, it's really nice.
Have you gone?
I have not.
I want to go.
I want to go and see the Northern Lights.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
and you can take whale watching tours and
Wow.
hiking, fishing. It's a great outdoors. I want to go to Alaska.
What? So, do you want to run through the places you've been?
Well, there's a bunch of places that I've been.
Amsterdam, obviously Hungary.
Amsterdam, Hungary, a bunch of places in Europe around Hungary. So we used to take like our family vacations would be just like driving down to like Croatia to the beach. Croatia was actually, some of Croatia was part of Hungary back in the day.
Back in the day.
And then after World War One, I think we kind of the Hungary was much bigger.
Yeah, there's the Austro-Hungarian Empire, correct? Or are you saying something else? Like Hungary itself.
Hungary itself was much bigger. We had a big part of Romania was still like part of Hungary. And
okay.
There's a big like so like the white supremacists, I guess, like they still believe that like there's the Hungary should get all that land back. So I feel like what's above Hungary? It's like Slovakia or something.
Hold on, give me a second.
You just gotta pull up the map.
We're looking at the map here.
Oh, you're not gonna be able to see it from there.
Slovakia. You're right.
I think Slovakia was.
Slovakia.
I think Slovakia didn't even exist. I don't want to say anything dumb, but I feel like it didn't even exist.
It feels like a new country.
Yeah. And
the Czech Republic's. Oh, it's Czechoslovakia. That's what it was.
Yeah,
they were one country.
Yeah, but some of the part. So this is what the old Hungary looked like. I'll show you.
Here we go.
No one is gonna see this because this is a podcast.
But we can.
But Zach will see it and he's gonna be like, "Oh,
I can.
shit.
Yeah, I can say how big it is.
It looks like a fish.
7 inches.
This would be a great time for.
I mean, I thought about doing YouTube for this.
Yeah, so this is present-day Hungary.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So all of
Romania,
all Romania,
it's parts of Serbia, Croatia.
So yeah, all of Slovakia.
Slovenia, a little bit of Austria, and Ukraine. Yeah. Damn, yeah.
So it got
you guys got
smaller.
broken up.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of...
Everyone talks about how Poland just keeps getting pieces ripped off of it, but like I guess Hungary, damn, you guys lost shit to 7 countries?
7 countries.
Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, we made 7 countries.
Damn.
We are the mother... We're like the mother of Europe. We birthed 7 countries. There's actually a lot of them. So the Genghis Khan gene is still there. I might have that gene too.
Really?
Because
that should be on 23andMe, like the Genghis Khan gene. Check.
He would go through Hungary as well.
Well, the Mongolian Empire was insane.
I think Hungary might have been part of it.
Possible. It's very possible.
Or even if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure he stepped on Hungarian like soil. And
it's like the Mongolia
raped everyone in Hungary.
It's terrible.
And then the whole like it's insane.
It's definitely terrible. Yeah, yeah, like those ancient empires, like and then the Greeks, with Alexander. Or no, it was Macedonia. Sorry, with Alexander the Great.
It's insane, like how and from like a scientific perspective, it's pretty cool, and it's not cool, but I guess it's cool that like there is a gene from one person that a lot of people still carry.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
because it's just, obviously in that time, and it's a horrible thing that happened. But,
no, but now,
but historically, like just thinking like, wow, like we have like our grand
yeah, it's just
grandmother all got raped. I mean,
well, there's a thing I saw that said Ashkenazi Jews can be traced to like 300 people in Europe.
That's like, isn't that the really strict Jewish community?
No, that's it's just location.
I'm like 1.9%.
Yeah, Ashkenazi's Eastern European Jews. That's why.
Yeah, that's what I am.
Sephardic
1.9% of that.
I'm
mostly Eastern European.
My dad's 48%, so that means I'm 24%.
Around there, yeah.
So, but like what you're talking about is the levels of strictness is like Reform Orthodox is the most strict.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a middle one. Yeah.
A middleman. There's a bunch of different religions.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of different denominations.
And that also divides us up. Religion is something that, honestly, I don't want to say anything about religion because I know there's a lot of religious people and it's great and there should be, but religion is one of the main reasons why we had wars. No,
that's definitely there. I mean, even going back to the Crusades.
Yeah,
it's very true.
all those Crusades, they were thinking that, or they still, they thought that they were
taking back the Holy Land.
Yeah,
you can probably trace back like 90% of wars to religion, race, like the Africa stuff.
Yeah.
Class, in terms of socioeconomic class, like revolutions. And then...
But revolutions were really just changing the government. I wouldn't really...
Yeah, but most of those are done by socioeconomic class a lot of times.
Yeah, because you want to change.
But yeah, like if you look back in history, I'm sure. I mean, your point is not. I mean, you're not saying anything wrong against religion. Like that's just a fact. Like I mean,
but not how it changed. Now religion is not gonna. I mean, it still causes wars in the Middle East.
No, in the Middle East.
But it like because of religion, that's why.
There's not going to be any more crusade. Now.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's interesting. I'm sure there's been textbooks written on it. It's just like if you took a course that just not necessarily just studied religion, but studied like how religion affected history, kind of thing.
I'm sure it's a fascinating course. It also affected science a lot.
Yes, for sure.
We would be way ahead of science if it wasn't for religion, because religion kind of restricted science in the
like Galileo.
Yeah.
In the 1600s, yeah, he was thrown in jail by the church for doing the heliocentric model.
Exactly.
Now I think it's much better.
That's crazy.
Now it's much. It's much better, I believe, the balance between church and science. It's much balance,
yeah, but there's still
no one's going to get thrown in jail by discovering something new and saying that it's true.
Yes.
So, but yeah, back then, certainly, you're right. I mean, a lot of those guys were derided.
But you needed an answer, and religion gave you an answer to, like, why people exist and why there was lightning and why there was rain and all that stuff. So I understand why religion came about and how religion is... And it's fascinating how, if you think about it, people can't handle the fact that there might not be anyone above them. It's just them, and they control their own destiny. They didn't want to believe it. That's why they came up with different gods and religions to explain that all the natural disasters and everything that happened, and they just didn't want to take responsibility for their own actions. They're like, oh, this is fate.
Yeah, like the ancient Egyptians had a lot of different gods. I know, like god of sun, god of stuff like that. Yeah, I think there are certainly things in my life that are just still unexplained to me that like I just, that cause for me to have my faith.
Yeah, it's really...
And it's a great sense of community as well for many people. Like you said, it's like great.
Yeah, it's a great organizations that you go there, you make new friends, and especially on Sundays, like especially here in America, it kind of like it's not just about religion, but about a community.
Yeah, certainly. So there we go.
Yep.
Religion is good.
And honestly, if you're religious, that's good. If you're not, that's good. Like, you just have to respect each
other.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I say just... And I think that's a good... we can end on this. That's just a great point for me. Just respect. There are certainly some people that are way extreme on and some things that it's just like, what are you talking about? But for the
as long as you're not forcing it on someone else, and you're doing what you believe in, then that's all that matters. As long as no one is forcing me to do this or forcing me to do that, then I'm not forcing anyone to do anything that I want, and we can all live our happy lives. So as long as it's not affecting someone else, then it's perfectly fine. But once it affects someone or a community, it's not like you have to kind of reevaluate of what you believe in.
Bam.
Perfect.
Dropping knowledge. Thank you for coming on, Maté.
Thank you for having me, Zach.
Thank you for listening to the Assist podcast. If you like the show, go drop a 5-star rating. That really helps us keep the show going. If you want to stay updated with all of the podcast episodes, hit the subscribe button, and also go follow our Twitter, which is @assist_podcast, and our Instagram, which is now the Assist Podcast. And you can write any emails, any suggestions you have to theassistpod@yahoo.com, and we'll see you next week.